All right, before we jump in, just a quick heads up. Everything we're about to cover is purely for educational purposes. It is definitely not financial advice, so please always do your own research. Today, we are taking a deep dive into something pretty incredible happening inside the PLAZM protocol, the absolutely explosive growth of its vault. We're going to look at how it jumped from under $400,000 to over $500,000 and break down the perpetual yield engine that's making it all happen. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the huge new record, then get into the nuts and bolts of how this yield engine works. After that, we'll zoom out to see how PLAZM is dominating the ecosystem, look at the math that proves its sustainability, and then wrap it all up with what we're calling the Vault Dominance Thesis. Okay, let's get right to it, the milestone. Because the story here isn't just about a new all-time high, it's about how it got there, right in the middle of some serious pressure. Let's just let that number sink in for a second. As of day 107, the PLAZM vault hit a brand new all-time high, $551,000. Now, that is an awesome number by itself, but trust me, the backstory is even better. And this chart puts it all into perspective. Just 23 days ago, on day 84, the vault was sitting at just under $400K. To see it grow by over $150,000, that's a 38.5% jump in a little over 3 weeks. That's just wild. You know, what's so fascinating here is the story this timeline tells. See that point on day 94? That was the peak of the stress test, and the vault just held strong around 400K. But look what happened right after. It didn't just recover, it went parabolic, jumping by over $150,000. This system didn't just survive the pressure, it literally used it as a launchpad. So how in the world is this kind of growth even possible? Well, it's not magic. Let's break down the two core mechanics of the perpetual yield engine that's powering this whole thing. All right, so the first engine is all about new capital. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful loop. When you stake or create in PLAZM, you're providing ETH. 100% of that ETH goes directly to buying DexFi bonds. And here's the kicker. Those bonds don't get sold. They become permanent, productive, yield-generating assets locked away in the vault forever. And you can see the results right here. In that same 23-day window, the vault stacked up almost 1,400 new bonds. That's a 23% increase. Think about that. It works out to an average of 60 new little yield machines being added to the Treasury every single day. The second engine is what all those assets are doing while they sit there. See, those bonds are constantly at work, generating real yield from trading fees. That yield, which is paid out in stable USDC, flows straight into the protocol's defense pools. This makes the system stronger, which inspires more confidence, and you get this awesome self-reinforcing cycle. And this isn't just some theory on a whiteboard. To date, the Vault has cranked out over $61,000 in actual claimed profits. We're talking real, sustainable yield that has nothing to do with token price, and it's building this rock-solid foundation for the whole protocol. Now, this growth isn't happening in a vacuum. The Vault's expansion is having a huge strategic impact that goes way beyond just PLAZM. Let's talk about what it actually means to dominate an ecosystem. Just look at this chart. The PLAZM protocol now owns 27.8% of the entire DexFi bond ecosystem. Let that sink in for a second. A single protocol has managed to acquire more than a quarter of a foundational DeFi platform's core assets. That is a massive level of influence. So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it's simple. Owning nearly 28% of the bonds means nearly 28% of all trading fees generated by the DexFi ecosystem go straight into PLAZM's defense pools. Every single trade helps fund PLAZM's stability. And what's maybe even crazier is the speed at which this is happening. On day 84, that share was under 24%. In just 23 days, PLAZM gobbled up another 3.9% of the entire system. This isn't just ownership, it's rapidly accelerating dominance. Okay, this brings us to what I think is the most important idea in this whole analysis, the sustainability equation. This is the core insight that really shows off the protocol's anti-fragile design. So, a lot of people ask, how can the vault be growing if the protocol is spending money on defense? And the answer is right here in the math. Since day 84, while the protocol spent an estimated 75 to 100 grand on defense, the vault grew by over $153,000. This means the protocol is actually in a net positive position. It's not just growing, it's growing way faster than it's spending.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. The vault grows faster than it spends. The new capital coming in and the yield being generated are bringing assets in the door at a much higher rate than defense is sending them out. This isn't just impressive growth. This is the very definition of sustainability.
Okay, so now that we've seen how all the pieces work, we can put it all together into a forward-looking conclusion we're calling the Vault Dominance Thesis. Now, if these trends keep up, the momentum is just staggering. In about another 11 days, we could see the vault pushing 600K and owning 30% of DexFi. And if we look out just over a month from now, we could be looking at a vault worth $750,000, controlling over a third of the entire DexFi bond system. This is exactly why the vault is so much more than just a treasury. It's really the foundation of the entire protocol, and it stands on 4 critical pillars. It generates yield for defense, it acts as a huge confidence signal, it gives PLAZM real influence in the ecosystem, and its core design means it actually gets stronger under pressure.
$551,000, 27.8% of DexFi, 38.5% growth in 23 days. Outpacing deployment, generating perpetual yield. The vault isn't just a treasury, it's the foundation of everything. This is Vault Dominance.
Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. And as always, please remember, this is all for educational purposes. Never, ever invest more than you're willing to lose, and always do your own research before you make any financial moves.